Hi folks, welcome back, and once again we're going to take a peek at a small issue we've currently developed with our G366. This is that clone of an 036 or 360 or an MS360 by Stihl. As you can see, it will not start. Recently, just very short period, it's had a problem being intermittent, and the intermittent lasted a little bit, and now it just won't start at all. So I'm kind of wondering, since we had a problem with that flywheel before and that key, maybe I didn't do a good job getting it tight enough. So we're going to jump in there right off the bat. I'm not even going to bother to test the spark on it. I'm just going to pull this pull start cover over here. Once we get that off and out of the way, then we can see if that flywheel is good and tight. I didn't hear any noise. I don't know how many of you ever saw the first video where we had the split key. When we went into it, the reason that key split was the flywheel really wasn't that tight. It's quite loose, actually. Now, don't know why. It had run for quite a while. It could be that it was, when it was originally seated, although it was seated good, there was something else interfering. And then by running it over time, it wasn't interfering anymore. And so she tightened up or snugged up a little bit. And when it snugged up, it got loose, actually. So maybe that was the case, but it split a key. So we're going to go back in here again and see if maybe I made a failure, didn't get it tight enough, and we've split another key. Or if maybe the flywheel is just flopping around a little bit. But anyway, we're going to know here pretty quick. We've got 3 of the 4 screws out on the pull starter, so there's only 1 more to go. Once we get that last screw out, then we can go ahead and pop this cover. And, you know, I get asked a lot how well this saw is done. 2.5 years, only had 3 problems with it. This is the third, I think. The first one was that fuel vent valve, that fuel vent tank, the fuel tank vent. We replaced that. The next one was real minor. It was that metal plate between the bar and the mount. And we just simply took it off, cleaned it up, and rebent it, put it back on. But look at there. I think I see the problem already. Down in the bottom right-hand corner. As you look down there where the wire connects on that blade connector on the coil, I'm going to have to move this around so you can see it pretty good. But right there on that blade connector, that wire is coming in on a crooked angle, a little bit below that star driver, right below the tip of that star driver. See it wiggle off that blade on that connector? Well, that is definitely a problem. Is it the problem? We don't know yet, but I know one thing. We're going to fix that. Let's get that connector out of there. And then now what I normally do is just when I pull a connector off a blade connector, I just turn around and tighten it up. I mean, it worked for 2.5 years, so let's just tighten it up. And once we get it tightened up, we're going to pop it back on and see how it feels. When you're tightening these things up, patience. Do it easily, real gentle. If you don't see, you'll see how I wiggle the pliers when I'm squeezing. I'm wiggling them because I don't want it to give a whole bunch at one time. And we just keep taking a little bit at a time, and then we turn around and look at it, take it down from the top, and take it in from the sides. You can see we've gotten it down and tightened up. Now we're going to go ahead and turn around and set that thing back in place and move it in. I'm going to use my pliers as much as possible to try and keep my big fingers out of the way. You know, it's just one of those things. As you can see, it's a pretty tight space, and that's probably what kept the thing from falling off when it originally started to come loose, just being done with it. I may have to get some pair of screwdriver or a screwdriver to push. Well, no, it's already in there, and it feels quite tight. Yep, that's what it should have looked like from the beginning when we opened up the cover instead of being crooked the way it was. We're not going to mess with anything else. My dad used to say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So we know that was bad. We've got it fixed. We're going to pop this cover back on. And remember, you got to lift up the corner of that brake handle just a tad so you can get this cover into place there. You can see the cover's in place. So now we'll go ahead and take those 4 screws and we'll pop them right back into place. And then we should be okay. I don't see any real problem with this. Actually, I'd have to say this has been a pretty good saw. Done everything I've ever asked for it. Those of you may have watched the video on this one compared to cutting times with against the 372. This is a 60cc saw. That one there, I rebuilt it as soon as we got it and made it a 75cc saw. And they performed both the way they should. So pretty good saws. I had the 372. I've had it maybe 4 or 5 months longer than this one, and it's done everything I ever wanted it to do. And the only thing I've ever had to do to that was I did have to replace the fuel lines, the fuel vent, and the just the fuel lines, I guess. That was it. No, the impulse line. Well, to me, I normally think of that as a fuel line, so, but it isn't. Okay, accurately. It's the impulse line. So all the lines I've replaced on the 372 and the valve, the fuel tank vent valve. And this one, we've gone over that. So now we've got her buttoned up. Let's put it on the floor. Get her down on the floor here. I know you're looking at it saying, boy, he's got a lot of junk in that room, doesn't he? So we've got a good spot. We'll set that choke. Hasn't been running a while, maybe a week or so. Pop it. Hey! Now that's what you want to hear. When you think you got an electrical problem, the saw won't run. We turn that choke off and now it's already idling. First pull for the choke, first pull for the, on the low idle. I didn't even think to set it on the high idle. So anyway, this looks like it's going to work out pretty good. We'll get a pad in here and let it idle, see if there's some vibrating, if it's going to pop off right off the bat. I'm not going to idle it on that concrete too long, you know. One thing, I know chainsaws idle, and there's a lot of vibrations that they have to put up with, but I'm not going to make it even worse by having it vibrating on that concrete. It was responsive on the rev up, so I think it's time to head for the wood. Got some oak here. You can see the absolute center. The bugs got to it. I don't know how far we've got to cut through it to get past the bugs. We've had it already idling, so it's warmed up, so you didn't have to wait through that. One thing about this saw, it just idles, and you tell it. So let's go ahead and get with it. Start panel. Okay, laying into it. Looks like a snow blower in the woods to snow, huh? First cut went off without a hitch. Here comes the second one. Okay. Everything seems to be going pretty good. Wow, pretty happy with that. But you know what? I just thought. I didn't check to see if it was still four-stroking in the cut, so let me do a couple more here real quick. We'll get 2 more of them out. Let me take a couple seconds probably. There we go, the first step coming along just fine. And it is dropping out of the force structure as long as I've got enough power into the blade itself when I'm pushing it. You can see even when it tags through that piece of wood and into the next piece of wood, it's not having any trouble. I gotta say, for me, thumbs up. It's working now. I can easily put that saw back in rotation. No problem with it whatsoever. So thanks for watching the video, folks. Another minor problem. Of course, well, it was a major problem. It wouldn't run, but it was very easily fixed. Matter of fact, that one didn't even cost any money. So thanks for watching again, and have a great day.